So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Molloy Twins podcast, and today we're joined by former bricklayer to business mentor, a man who's a published author and now making his way up in the property world, and most importantly of all, proud Clondalkin native, Joe Doyle.
It's important that you get that piece.
Yeah, we have to. Joe, thanks for coming on, man. That was a good intro.
Do you like it? Yeah, any times you practiced that before?
I was in the mirror downstairs for about 10 minutes.
It sounds good. I must actually take note of that.
Say that,
yeah. Sorry.
Joe, you're obviously someone who we've been familiar with for a few years now for a couple of reasons. One's obviously Clondalkin, but two, obviously within the business mentorship stuff you do is mainly geared towards tradespeople. Your dad's a toiler, self-employed, so he's been following your stuff for a good few years now, from what I can remember.
Is his name Adam as well?
It is, yeah, Adam Molloy as well.
No.
You know?
Yeah, I do know him, yeah. Actually, that's so mad. Adam Molloy Senior, he is on
Yeah,
Facebook.
that's it, yeah.
So mad. You know, actually, I'll tell you a weird story about that.
Go on.
There's another guy, Molloy, that's on the Instagram the whole time, and I always thought it was him.
Oh, okay.
And your man just rang me the other day, and I was having a conversation with him as if I was talking to your dad.
No way.
Yeah, and he's like, no, that's not me. I was like, are you sure we were talking? He's like, no. And because he told me he had two twin boys, like, you know, this was about 4 years ago. When we had that conversation, but all the time it wasn't him, so that's mad. I didn't even know that. Right now.
That's it,
and I had to go in and check it then, because I knew his Facebook was Molloy Senior, or his Instagram was Molloy Senior.
Yeah.
So is he still toiling away?
He still is, yeah.
Just hanging in there.
Tell him I said hello.
I will indeed.
That's mad. Actually, yeah.
Small world.
Especially Clondalkin, yeah, man.
Yeah, he was in Bono again, is it?
Yep.
Bono.
Yep, we
They're
are
very
indeed.
respectable for the Bono again.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
He obviously done a good job
This is the
there.
new age of Bono. This is,
Yeah, have you seen the antics that was going on in my estate there the last few days where I grew up? I'm like, Jesus. Thank God
Where
I'm
is
not
it that
there
you grew up?
in Greenford.
Greenford.
I was mad, carry on going there. I'll show you after this. It's like, no, you don't
That's a
want to be in
different
there nowadays.
podcast altogether. That is,
That's probably a Nicola Talent gig there. You know?
Yeah. We always like to kick off with a bit of like kind of quick fire, not so quick, medium pace fire questions.
Yeah.
One I wanted to ask you, because in the space that you're in, like business, mentorship, these things, I think those sort of industries, if people aren't involved in it or maybe not too educated in it, it can automatically come across as like scam. Or, you know, these sort of like labels, really skeptical with it. What's something about like what you do or the industry you're in that you think people misunderstand?
It's full of scammers.
It is full of scammers, yeah.
Yeah, like, so it's full of people who don't know what they're talking about, trying to position themselves as an expert. And then it's also full of people pretending to be other people. So like just even today, like this morning I got a message off a guy. He's like, Joe, I messaged, so he messaged me on Instagram, and the message that he sent me on Instagram was, Joe, I'm after being chatting to you the last while on TikTok, but I don't know why you're trying to sell me cryptocurrency, you know? I was like, what are you even talking about? And then straight away I twigged it. That's one of the scam accounts going around, trying to get people into that. But it is full of scammers, and like people are right to be skeptical, because the whole journey from the dawn of civilization is, you know, boy into man, you know, which is basically like, you know, student, apprentice, master, teacher. And nowadays people are like, straight to teacher. And they're skipping all that sort of stuff, you know. And the tools that we have available to us are allowing that to happen, but they don't last too long in the space, but it just gives the whole industry like a bit of a bad name. You know. And like, you know, we're in the office, as I was saying to you before we start, we've got a problem of some sort in the business. We'll all pile in and try and fix it, and we'll find someone or reach out to someone, and I'm happy just to pay it to fix it. You know, give a guy whatever amount of money to fix the problem. But most times when we give the guys money, they're just not fixing the problem that we ask. You know, and that ranges from us, like, you know, paying like 100 quid to someone on Fiverr, to paying like 5-10 grand to somebody to do something bigger. Here we go again, like, you know. And then in the end you end up learning it yourself. But like the easiest way to progress on any journey is to find someone who's already doing what you're now trying to do, and copy them. But you'll only see a certain amount of it. But if you pay them for their time and expertise, it will fast track the process. And usually anybody that's accepting a significant amount of money for their expertise, they're somebody that's credible. Well, let me say, providing they are someone that's credible, they'll feel obliged to deliver value far in excess of what you've paid to them. You know, even there today, like I was talking to a client of mine, and he's buying a house, and he's hovering, whatever, the house is like 300 grand or something, he's hovering 275, 280, 285, and he's saying he can go up to like 320, you know. And he's like, the agent told me that the owner wants to hold out for 300 grand, you know. And I'm like, well, just go in and offer like 302, 303, something like that. And he's like, yeah, but we might. I was like, well, find out what the person wants, deliver more to them than what they want, and it's a done deal, and just move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I never thought of it like that. So just, deliver more value.
It's a good answer, isn't it? Is that something?
Probably a long answer there. I'll
It's
keep
good.
it
We
short.
like long answers.
That's why we don't say quick fire anymore.
Right,
Slow fire now.
Yeah, you can ask me the question and tell me how long you want to answer. But the thing is, the reason why people are skeptical of people in the mentorship space is because it's full of people that are just blatant chancers.
Yeah.
As somebody that's in that space, I can tell you that.
Yeah, honest answer. I like it. Speaking of that, you were saying that, and I mean, it's a good point, and one that I don't think enough people take seriously, is like, no matter where you are in your journey, there's someone who's further ahead of you who, provide them with the right context and stuff, they can help you along the way. I know Grant Cardone is a big influence to you, but when you were growing up, young fella in Greenfort, going into looking at life and saying what direction do I want to go, or what do I want my life to look like, who were you looking up to?
I think that's probably part of the problem, was that there wasn't that many role models in the immediate vicinity, and there's no social media then. You were a few years younger than me, so you grew up in the social media age. There's not even YouTube, But,
What did you do all day?
What
did you do all day? Jesus.
We went down and played in the fields, great crack, there wasn't it, and as I kind of look back now, and that I've kind of moved out of that estate, and the problem for so many people is the role models are people that shouldn't be role models. People are more respected, people, when I would say early teens onwards, us, hanging around the estate causing a nuisance, we respected the people that were kind of feared the most, or we respected the people that were, the people that have the most money, and they were all up to no good, and that's, just lacking a role model, I think, for so many people. Whereas if we could just get a good role model in there, someone who's not miles ahead of them, but just one of their own that can just say, listen, you can do that if you want, but this is a better way. I think it'd be much better, My dad was obviously a big influence, there was kind of a rule in my house: I went to school, I went to work.
Right,
and there was no discussion about it. So, I went to work on a Saturday, I went to work on a Sunday. The outlet works all the time, and that was it. So I just grew up knowing no different. So that gave me a work ethic, probably like nobody else, which just stands to me today, So forever grateful to him for that,
What did your dad do?
He was a builder. Small builder, yeah. Very hard worker. Still, I learn as much from him today as I did back then, insofar as that he ran a very small building company, and it still operates today as it did when I worked with him when I left school 25 years ago. And that's just him and a couple of guys tipping away, working hard, no real plan, no real strategy.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, that there's a whole generation like that. You ask them to do an hour's work, and it turns into be 10 hours work. And they'll just be like, okay, sure, we'll stay and get it done. They have that graft mentality.
Yeah.
But get them to sit down in front of a laptop, prepare a set of accounts. Disaster, which is the way the world nowadays,
Oh man, I think obviously your father's business kind of fits into that category, but most tradespeople I know fit into that category as well.
100%.
Whereas the work ethic is through the roof, but the business side of things is seriously lacking.
Yeah, I always say, if you want everyone to hide ant on a tradesman, put it on the second page of Google. Because they go on to go, it's not there. Can't find it. But you put them on something, on a project that's completely over or underpriced, underestimated, and they just stay to get it done. And I'm not telling them not to stay to get it done, but it's like, lads, the money's made on site, but it's lost in the office.
That's
a
great
what
point.
they need to be aware of, which is unfortunate,
Man, that's such a big message. That it's like the idea that the thing that there's a tipping point almost where the skills that will get you to a certain level of success will be the thing that stops you getting to the next level.
100%,
for those boys, it's like, they have the work ethic and the graft, but if that's all you have, or all you're willing to invest in, it's like you're going to hit limitations very quickly.
I'd say the benchmark of success. I'd say the benchmark of success for most tradesmen is that they're comfortable, and comfortable is that they've got a decent van, the missus has a nice car, no shortage of money at the Christmas, and they go away for 2 weeks in the summer. And if they have, oh, geez, sorry.
No, you're all good. You're all good.
If they check them boxes, they would say, I'm grand, and then load of lads will be running a business, and they get their wage and they keep things right, and then they go out and do a little bit on a Saturday, do a little half day on a Saturday to get a couple of £100. And that's their pocket money for the week. And they're happy out. And I'm like, lads, we ain't going to be friends if that's your limit of
success.
desire, That's really it. You know, just pushing them to do more. Well, I'm not even pushing them. They want to do more. They just don't.
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
next piece.
Yeah.
But I'm very lucky for me that I've kind of lived that life. And I've gone through the process and figured these pieces out. You know, so I'm thinking like, fuck, if I could just have someone to show me the next level, save me having to figure it all out myself.
Yeah. Talk to me a bit about that process. So I'm guessing, did you leave school and go straight into a bricklaying apprenticeship, or what was that journey
Yeah,
like?
so my journey was left school, and then when I was old enough, then I became a bricklayer, and I served my apprenticeship with my old lad. And I actually when I finished my apprenticeship, I was like, right, this bricklaying is not for me. Like, you know? And I just set up a little small building crew, me and two lads, just doing a little bit of building work, nothing major. But I bought the house next door to my ma's house when I was 18. And then I always wanted to be a property guy. Like, that was my gig. I wanted to be a property guy. But the rule back then was that you could get a 90% mortgage for the first house. Mm-hmm. After that, then it was an 80% mortgage. But if you are building a house, the bank would give you 80% of the site cost and 100% of the build cost.
Right.
So let's just say we're buying a house for, just call it 200 grand. The bank will want you to put in 40 grand. Now, this is like 20 years ago. The bank will want you to put in 40 grand. But if you're building a house and the site is 50 grand, the bank will give you 40 grand, so you only need to put 10 grand in. And then they give you the build
Full
cost,
amount.
the full amount.
Okay.
So if I stick an extra 10, 20, 30 grand onto the build cost, that's my deposit for the next house. So that was straight away, so it was the only option I had. So got the first house, like, it was 18, then I basically bought a little site, built a house, and then I just kept doing that. And I done that, like, you know, 19, 20, 21, 22. I was doing it for a few years, you know. And that took me up to like 2005, 2006. Like, that's been years now. Years ago now. I don't really think about this. But what happened back then was that was like the prices were going through the roof of the houses.
Yeah.
And it didn't stack up for me to be able to buy them anymore. So that's when I shifted and said, right, I need to focus on my business now. And I done one more deal. I paid 685 grand for the property. The value collapsed. The bank took the property on me, sold it for like 90 grand or something like that. I was stuck paying that money back then for years, but I had the business going on then, you know. And so then we had then I'd learned a lot about being a general builder and how it's not really possible to make money in that format. So I became a specialist builder the second time round, and that's when we were making a reasonable enough amount of money, but it was really hard work, like, and I was just like taking any profits that we had at all times, just buying more houses out of it. And then when I was buying the houses, they were like a fraction of the price what they were. So that was the journey for that. Then I decided that so I was in that business called Insurance Works. I was in that business for 10 years, and the properties was starting to outperform. I was basically making more money from the properties than I was from the business, and I wasn't even working to collect money from the properties because the rent paid that. So then I decided to leave the building game and just focus on the property. And when I went to focus on the property, I just made a video on Facebook one day just talking about business, what I knew, and like loads of people. It's like people kind of knew me and they're just waiting for this to happen.
Okay, yeah.
And then that just became a business kind of blossomed out of that, you know.
Yeah.
Now, what I've glanced over in that property journey was I nearly made myself bankrupt in the way, but I don't even talk about that no more. Like, it's like, if it's on YouTube, go and look at it as a documentary about it. I don't even want to talk about that.
I don't want to think about it.
It's done, you know. But what happened was I started following Grant Cardone. So this was like in 2016 or 17. It was this 10x growth conference he has. So I seen this, I'm like, wow, I'm gonna go to that, you know. And then me just having this little fucking dream in my head, like, right, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna fly first class, I'm gonna stay in the exact hotel where the event's on, I'm gonna get the biggest room there, I'm gonna get first row seat, I'm gonna sit next to Grant Cardone, I'm gonna, you know, just all this sort of stuff in my head, you know. I'm gonna get a car to pick me up from the airport, the same car what Grant has, and I'm gonna just live in the moment, you know. It's just me. So we added up the numbers, how much it was costing. Like, it was 10 grand to get a front row seat at the thing, and then first class flights, all these different things. I don't know, I think it was like 40 grand of a trip, like, based on what we planned on spending. And then I was like, okay, Joe, well, look, you're just at the escaping by the skin of your teeth, all the bankruptcy stuff.
Yeah.
You're just about getting things going here. You can't be too cocky now spending all this money on a trip. If you want to go, you can go. This is like me literally talking to myself. Like, if you want to go, you can go, but you need to get the money from somewhere else. And I was like, right, where will I get the money? And I says, I know what I'll do. I'll try and get 10 people and I'll show them what's after happening with me over the last 4, 5, 6 years and how they can do what I've done without the big bit in the middle where I nearly went bankrupt, so I can help them protect against making their mistakes. So we went on there. I made a video on Facebook, and 10 people paid me $4,000 each to show them. So that was the
The
cost.
40 grand done, yeah.
I was like, wow, this was easy, you know. And then we were, because you're VIP, so the way they do it is like, say, you have the stage, and then there's like a backstage. But backstage is not like kind of dressing rooms and all that. It's like a lounge.
Okay.
And there's drinks and food.
Right.
And if you're in the kind of the VIP section, you can leave here and go backstage and just chill out there. So the speakers who are talking, who are doing their piece, they're out the back beforehand, they're out there afterwards, sitting there having a little waffle with them and all. And
Right,
if someone
right.
wants a break, you can come out, and it's brilliant. And all the people that are there are not general admin people. And what it means is people who are there that are at a level.
Yeah,
And most
yeah.
of them were at a level far greater than where I was at. And you're just talking to people, and you're just seeing how their mind works, you know. But while I was there, I was blown away by the fact that I could basically fund this trip just by this new business. And a mad story then. So this is, I'm like, right, maybe let's do it again, you know. And he had this little desk and a little kind of presentation card on it where he was running a mastermind for 40 people, 25 grand a head. He was going to make $1 million for a week work, you know. And me with my mouth, I'll do that. And he basically just took the card up, and he came over. And if you remember, he just pressed the card into my chest and then moved his hands away. So I had to grab it, you know, 'cause it was gonna fall. So I'm like, right, well, Joe, you have to get in here by tapping into something in the universe. Let's do it again, you know. So I'm like, right, how can we do this? How can I get this 25 grand? And I'm adding up 25 grand for the course. The hotel was $1,000 a night. I'll have to bring the missus this time. First class flights, yeah, because you have to kind of get in that moment, because once you start allowing yourself to, you know, to live that first class life, you don't want to go back.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Now, I'm not really an extravagant person, but the likes of that stuff for business, I'm like, no, I want to be at that level, you know. So I was just thinking, like, where would I be able to? So I'm at this event for like 3 days, and I'm scratching my head, where can I get the money to pay for this?
Yeah.
And I just said, right, let's just make another video. I says, right, lads, we've got a program put together here to help people with their first 2 houses. If you want to get involved in it, give me a shout, you know. And I was saying, how much would you pay if I showed you how to buy 2 houses? People were like saying all these different amounts of money. 5 grand, 10 grand, 10%, all mad stuff. And I was like, right, 1,500 quid, I'll show you exactly what you need to do to buy 2 houses. And so I'm like literally sitting there in Miami, and the phone is like erupting, you know, and people pinging me, and I'm like, here we go, we're on it now, like, you know. And I just rings the office. I was like, listen, this lad's going to bring down money, go to the bank every single day. Who are these lads? I was like, I have no idea. What do you mean you have no idea? I was like, I just don't know who they are. They just messaged me on Facebook. What do you mean Facebook? Facebook wasn't even a thing for us for business back then. you
Right,
know?
yeah.
So then I rang the house. I says, Linda, listen, people are bringing down money. Take their name. Make sure you know who's giving it to you. Put the money in the bank. I'll sort it all out when I go home. And by the time I come home, I had the trip paid for to go to St. Bart's in the Caribbean, you know, which was mad, like. And it just led to different things. I can tell you other stories that happened there, but
Yeah.
but basically then, kind of like the biggest thing was that I had I didn't want to go to St. Bart's owing any money to the banks, and at that time I had 100 grand in my bank, or 150 grand, something like that. That was all I had, and I owed nearly the same amount to the banks, and it was the
Okay.
last bill. And I'm like, right, I have 2 choices here now. I either pay that money to the bank and go there with nothing owed, but I've nothing in my pocket, or else I go owing money. It's like, this is not right, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, right, Joe, let's figure this out again. Let's do again what you've done twice already. And done a property deal, made it was actually 120 grand I need to come up with, made 130 grand on a deal in a week. It was the first time I've ever done something like that. And then I just rang a buddy of mine and said, listen, I'm after making 130 on a deal. The money's coming in about 3 or 4 weeks. Do you want to give me 120 today, and you can have 130 when it comes in?
Right.
And he's like, so you're just going to give me 10 grand just for nothing? Like, don't you want to lend it? And I said, no, give me that and you can take it back. He's like, yeah, right, let's do it. So he gave me the
120.
the money, and I went in and paid the bank. But the other thing, what was kind of triggering me, all this kind of process of putting you outside your comfort zone, was that when I had been at the first event with Cardone, he'd said to me, you should be on stage with us, you know. So my head just ballooned.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
But I said, I can't go there. Like, if I go there to that event and tell him that I'm at the selling out an event, that'll put me in a better
Standing, yeah.
standing with him, you know. But I was afraid to get on the stage own the money to the banks. That's what it was. So
Right,
that was
right,
one thing
yeah.
was after the other, you know.
Yeah.
So I had to get an event put on. I had to sell out the room, but I had to make sure I got the money to clear the bank before I stood on the stage, and then I need to make sure I still had the money before I went there. So all these different things were kind of kicking into gear, you know. And I basically put an event on, just testing this social media thing. Sold 300 tickets. 300 people came to hear me speaking on a stage. First time I'd ever done it in my life. Like, it was a great night. It all worked out well. We just raised a few quid for charity. I wasn't doing it to make money. I was doing it just to say that I could do it,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And so we done that, paid off the banks, and then I got a phone call. A hurricane was after destroying the island and the hotel where the event was, and they had to refund me all the money. So
No way.
basically, I got the money refunded. But if I didn't put myself in a position where I was forcing myself to
Yeah.
perform at that level, I wouldn't have known what I could do, you know. And nowadays, I'm like, I can actually do whatever the fuck I want. Like, it's just mad. It's just in my head. And like, once I just focus on something that you can make it happen, you know. So
Yeah.
now I'm on this journey to make 100 million quid. And I used to always say, like, I want to make 100 million quid, but I just didn't know how I'm going to make 100 million quid. But I used to say to people, and people like, haha, they'd laugh at you, you know. And I'm like, oh yeah, you know. And then people are like, why are you laughing at? I'm like, no, I'm on this mission. And they're like, are you serious? Like, yeah. And then people start believing me, you know. And then it's like, so when are you going to do it? I was like, oh, I don't know. And we're just walking towards different things. And then we were in the office there looking at a deal the other day. And I'm like, if we close off that deal, that's like a 20 plus million deal. Like, so if we close
Right.
that deal off, we only need to do that 3 more times.
And you're there, yeah.
And we're there. I was like, fucking hell, man, this is a done deal, you know. And we can see a pathway to it, you know. So, like, I just work every single day to get to that point. And the trick is give as much value to as many people along the way so that you can get money from them.
Yeah, yeah.
As you get to your targets, you know. Even at that, then there was a load of different things just went on along the way. But it's just about basically pushing yourself to do things that you really want to do, but you don't know how to do it.
Yes.
And you figure it out. And even at that, like, you know, I mentioned there at the start, the doubt that I have about being able to do something, it's only starting to leave me now, like, you know. So, like, we're 3,000 clients in, I don't know, 100 and odd property deals in, and the doubt that I can do anything is, number one, I'm like, yeah, I can do it, but, oh, Jesus,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
I can't.
yeah.
So it's like, in one breath you believe you can do it, and then the other, it's like the devil and the angel on the
Yeah,
shoulder, you know.
yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going for that, and like one fella once like, yeah, Joe, you can do it, and the other fella's like, fuck you think you are, Joe?
Yeah,
You're Bricky
yeah,
from
yeah.
Greenford,
Yeah.
back in your box. I'm like, shut up, you know. And if I slow down a bit, I'll end up listening to him. So
Yeah.
just keep going.
Yeah, don't slow down.
Yeah, just don't slow down. Don't listen to yourself. Don't listen to anyone. Just go for it.
It's
You know?
funny, most people don't even bother starting because of that voice that you mentioned there, that voice to do.
Oh yeah. Fear of failure is a big thing for a lot of people. Like, you know, it's not comfortable. Like, you know.
No.
And it keeps a lot of people trapped. You know. But it's always there, and it's just only starting to quieten down a little bit for me now.
How many years in, like how many property deals in,
yeah.
how much money? Yeah,
I'm 40 now this year, and I'm 22 years hustling. Like,
Yeah.
it's only starting to be on par with the positive voice.
Yes,
If that makes
yeah,
sense,
yeah.
you know. But you just get on with it. You know, it's like, you know, Mike Tyson has a whopping like what's he say? Discipline is when you do what you don't
what you
wanna
hate
do.
but do it like you love it. Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, yeah. It's brilliant, you know. So some of the stuff like we've been, oh jeez, you know, I'm like, you know, at the end of the day we're in the house and Linda's like, at the end of the day we're in the house and Linda's like, right, I'm going to bed, and I'm like, yeah, no worries. Like, so we leave the sitting room and she'll walk up the stairs and I'll go in the kitchen. I'm there like for 2 hours on the laptop then,
Tapping away.
you
Yeah.
know, to get stuff done that I need to have it done tomorrow, because, you know, sometimes I'll do it when she's awake, but sometimes then you need to give a little bit more attention to the
Yeah,
family, you know, and then you're like, oh, next morning trying to drag yourself out of bed, but it's all for the greater good, you know.
Do you find it? Obviously, you've achieved quite a lot, and I know that. Actually, that's another interesting question, because I always find whenever I speak to people who have achieved something that they previously wouldn't have thought possible,
Yeah.
they still don't feel like a success, because I think the further you go along that path, the definition of success changes. But
Yeah, and the more you do, the more you know you can do.
yeah,
That
100%.
makes sense.
But if you look back to 18-year-old Joe, do you think he'd be proud of what he sees today, or?
And because I'm not where I want to be yet. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't achieved that yet. You know. Now, when I was 18, I didn't have the balls to dream for 100 million. Like, but I don't see any difference in myself now than then. Like, which is the maddest thing. Like, you know. I actually had a little kind of awakening moment there the other day. I was like, this is, you know, anytime I go into town, I'd always see people from the area, like, and they're homeless and stuff like that. And, you know, it'd always make me business say hello to them, you know, and give them a few quid, you know. But I went in to see Cinderella with the missus and the baby. Cinderella? What's Cinderella, yeah. And I came down, just pure got caught off guard, came down the stairs out of the, what's the theatre there at Stephen's Green?
Is it the Gaiety?
Gaiety, that's the one, yeah. So come down the stairs, and there was a chap standing outside next to the you know, the people selling the different bits and pieces. And I was like, I know his face, and he was in my class when we were in primary school, you know.
Right.
And I was like, I know his face, but it just took me a minute to look at him, right? But I'd no money on me, so I didn't want to say hello to him because in case he knew me, right? And like, he recognised me from social media, and obviously you know who I was. We're in the same class together. But if I didn't give him anything, I'd feel pure bad, you know. But I was walking downstairs. I'm walking down the stairs here now, and it's not bleeding cheap to go to them pantos either.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And walked out there and walked across into the car park, and that's when I was saying to Linda, the price of them bleeding tickets, we're in and out in like 2 hours, like 200 quid for. I was like, that's the price, you know. And Linda's like, yeah, you wouldn't be able to go there if you are on your own or you're on welfare or something like that, you know. But I'm like, I'm coming out here myself, my missus, my baby, a happy, healthy family, you know, walking over, getting into a nice car, driving back to our nice house, and that chap's standing there looking for money because he has nothing, you know. I'm like, there's only like 1 or 2 instances where I decided to say no and he decided to say to something in his life versus my life, and he's ended up in that situation and I've ended up in that. So that for me kind of gave me a little bit of said, Jesus, you've actually achieved something, you know. But I still think I'm the same as what I was back then, you know. Look, when I get the 100 million, you'll fucking know about it. Yeah. Remember that day you asked me that question? But until then, we'll keep hustling.
Real statue of Joe Doyle in Green Fort. Yeah.
Let's put a Joe Doyle and then Mullingar. Next to the ark.
Quality.
Put a pigeon tree all over the head.
When you were going back to what you were saying about like general tradesmen, let's say, and the idea of having a business, and many of them being like in that mindset of what success you mentioned, like if I have a nice gaff, couple of holidays a year, whatever else. How long would you say you are in the trades doing the do before you hit a point where you're like, fuck this, I don't want to be doing this, let me go down the path of actually trying to build this into a business as opposed to a job?
Oh, straight away I was like, fuck that, being a bricklayer, this is fucking hard work, you know. Because what was happening was the very first house I built, I was doing everything myself, and if I was there on the trowel, great, work was getting done. But if I wasn't there, the other boys were on the trowel. Like, this is not, the money is not in doing the physical work. The money is in doing the deal and making sure everything's organised. And everything happens. So straight away, I was like, this is not for me to be on the tools. But then I just became a small builder, and I was kind of got caught up in the moment of doing everything myself again. So kind of, you go in and out and see, we dipped in and out, but I knew straight away, but I didn't know how to run a business. So I was running a business, and all I was doing was just running myself into the ground and going nowhere for a good while. And then eventually I learned how to do it. Like, and that was it then, you know. The magic number is 500 a day. 500 quid a day, every single day.
Where does that number come from? Or what's the significance of 500 a day?
If you make 500 quid a day, you'll be making enough money to be able to buy property. Okay. If you're not making 500 a day, you won't. It's too slow. You'll never get to where you want to be. So I always say that every man, you know, every alpha male, every man in the house should be aiming to have his own house paid for and 4 properties. And those four properties then will bring in 4 rent checks per month, which means that's a week's wages every month into the house, you know. And then, okay, how does that happen? Just keep breaking it down. And if you hit 500 a day, you can do that over the course of a couple of years without too much hassle. But the hassle is hitting the 500 a day, you know. And then if you tell a guy make 100 grand a year, he's like, oh yeah, 100 grand, yeah. But he'll start that tomorrow or next week or next month because it's no urgency.
Yes.
Tell me it's 500 today, so it's like, you know, it's whatever time it is now. Where are you going to get your 500 tomorrow? Oh, well, that's not going to happen tomorrow. Where are you going to get tomorrow? You're going to bring that urgency into it. It's a big mindset shift for them. Like, if you read any of the comments on any of our posts, like when I'm talking about 500 a day, most people will say that's not possible.
Yeah, 100%.
But like,
it's 500
most
a week.
of my clients make it every single day, like, you know. And it's if you believe it's not possible, that's correct.
Yep.
If you believe it is possible, you might walk towards it. You know, that's the way I look at it, you know.
That's a fair point.
And like, we've had 3,000 lads go through the program now, you know. So it's a big success for us. Like, I'm Actually quite proud of that now, to be honest. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Especially when you see lads making their first 500 in a day, and then they have their first 10 grand month, and then especially when they get their first set of keys. It's nice to follow that journey along with them.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
in most cases, like lads, they've no one to talk to. The missus doesn't have a fucking clue, because the more he goes home and says, "We're making more money," the more she thinks she can spend.
Yeah, the nicer car she wants.
Yeah, exactly. They can't talk to their mates because their mates are either into sports or into drinking or into what, and they don't have the same mindset as them, so they think they're boasting. So then we just get all these fucking headbangers, like me and all the guys like me, and we put us all together. We all make things better for ourselves and each other,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
which is good, you know.
Oh, definitely. I don't know if this is an unfair question to ask, so please just tell me if it is.
It is, yeah.
But I'm just thinking from the perspective, like someone like your father,
That money was just resting in my account, yeah.
but like someone like your dad who's like self-employed, does everything by himself, works really hard, not really long-term vision, doesn't really see what the next phase is, getting older, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
For anyone who like kind of is in that position, what's some like general principles or rules that you'd start bringing into their daily practice to try and get them towards that 500 a day, or even just towards something a bit
Well, the
better?
first one is to have the target. Have the target, right? So it's 500 quid a day, right? Okay, well I can't make that. Okay, well let's just agree for a minute that that's the target, right? Okay. So in order to make 500 quid, you have to pay your profit is 500 quid. Your wages is like, call it 200 quid a day. Your running costs 100 quid, so it's 800 quid a day. So you need to now start thinking, what can I do to generate 800 quid a day? Oh, well, I can only charge 200. Okay, but what can you do? Can't do anything. Okay, well, what can you do to get closer to it? And they might shift something around and they'd say, right, well, I can get 350 a day. Okay, perfect. It's an improvement. So who can we bring in? Oh, you can't get fellas to do work. You can't get this, you can't get that. Okay, right, no bother. Well, how much time do you spend doing invoicing and paperwork and all that sort of stuff? Oh, well, I do not. Okay, well, let's get someone else to do that for you, and then you do more work. Okay, so then that 350's gone to 400 a day then. So now they're halfway between where they were and where they need to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Now they're halfway there. And then they're like, wow, this actually makes sense. This, and you know, different things start falling into place for them, you know. And the easiest thing to do is just put them into a group with other people who are already doing it. So for me, it's like, it's actually a very easy job for me now, because I've got a group of 300 guys who are all doing it. But most of them are doing it. So every now and then I drop a new guy in there who doesn't believe it's possible. But I just say to him, go over talk to Adam, or go over talk to Johnny, or go over talk. And then eventually his own self-belief increases. And happens, you know. That's right. Now there's loads of other different things, but
Yeah,
you know, it's not that relevant now. Like, but just the target. I can't emphasize how important it is to have a target, number one, and have a sense of urgency about it. So it's a daily target. The target needs to be big enough that you've no time to say, I'll do that tomorrow.
Right.
You know, sorry, let me say that again. The timeline needs to be tight enough that you've no time to say, I'll do it tomorrow. You have to do it now. And if you get into that kind of way of doing things, it's actually it's very easy to fucking move mountains nearly, you know.
Surprising what you can achieve, when you put it on yourself.
We had a finance application going in before, and an email came in at about 10 o'clock in the night, and the broker sent in like all the things that was needed, and just one thing at the end of it. Still a fair bit to go yet, lads, before we have this application. Really, yeah. I'm just not sleeping tonight. Watch. I'll have that in his fucking inbox before he gets to his office tomorrow. I just basically stayed up for like most of the night, trawling through files and paperwork. Bing, went to sleep saying, lovely. You know, he's gonna say, what the fuck? How is he?
Yeah.
Like, because he basically sent me the email late in the evening as he was leaving the office. So by the time we got in the next day, it was all there. You know. But just having that urgency is a key thing. I always remember a fella saying to me before, he's like, Joe, you're the most urgent man I've ever met in my life. And I was like, I've never been called urgent. What do you mean by that? You know, he's like, you want everything done now. You know, he's a country fella. I was like, really? I don't want to be fucking about. I want to get on it. You know. But then when you see how other people do things, I'm fairly urgent to do stuff. You know.
What's it called? Is it one of Murphy's Law? Something like that was like the amount of time it will take to do a task is the amount of time you give yourself to do it.
It's actually called Parkinson's
Law. That's the one. Yeah.
And I always say that, you know, a task will expand to the amount of time allocated for it. That's really it. You know. Just mad stuff going on. Like, and it's actually at the point now where I don't even be paying attention to people that say, you can't do it. I'm surrounded with so many people who are following this process. You know, my clients, because that's who I'm interacting with all day. That there's like those who believe it's possible, and everybody else.
Yeah.
And those that are out there that don't think anything significant is impossible, that's fine. I'm not going to try and convert you. If you want to step over here, you're more than welcome to come in, but I'm not going to try and
Drag you,
persuade you, you know. And then, like, again, obviously, if I'm not spending time with clients, we're on social media of some sort, and I don't even respond to people who say it's not possible to do it.
Yeah.
We actually done a great thing the other day. We made a hate collage. So of all the hateful comments and people criticising what we were saying we're doing, they're like, you can't do that, and also we just put them all together. It's like about, I don't know, a couple of hundred comments on this one image, and it makes for interesting reading, you know. But it's a bit sad to think like that.
Yeah.
That's how most people how would you say? That's how most people believe.
Like,
That's
yeah.
their belief system. Like we were putting a few videos up there saying, don't be listening to people saying there's no opportunity for Irish people in Ireland or for young people in Ireland. There's loads of opportunity, and the amount of backlash that we got from that.
Yeah.
By people adamant that there was no opportunity for young people in Ireland. I thought this is just madness. This is like parents passing that down to their
kids, yeah.
kids. Like, so much opportunity if you're willing to go out and graft for it, you know.
Love it. Love it. When you mentioned there the idea of going from building up to 500 quid a day, what was interesting is, firstly, there wasn't that like special in there. It was like simple little tweaks or simple little steps. But I can imagine the process of trying to bring someone through that. So much resistance will come up for them along the way of like what they should make. Like the example of getting a bookkeeper in to do that so you can work more. It's like even little tweaks like that. I can imagine there's so much resistance or pushback some people have to even making those little changes.
Oh yeah, like you see, the thing is, right, and people who wouldn't be clued into this would be it'd be very easy to criticise what I'm about to say, right? The more people pay in terms of money, the more they pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. The more they pay attention. You give something to someone for free, they won't listen to it, you know?
Yeah.
We had a session last night with my clients, and a guy had a problem. I said, listen, go and check this section and watch this video, and this will fix that problem for you. I says, and when you hear this, lads, I says, everybody should go and watch that video because it's absolutely smashing. It's about why you should charge more for the same job. So sometimes you should do a job very, very cheaply. Another time you should charge more for that job, and another time you should charge much more again, you know. And I put that video out just to educate people online, saying this is how you can charge more for the same job. And can't do that. That's a lot of balls, you know. And then these guys are paying money for me to say certain things and give them certain instructions, and giving them that exact instruction is what's now going to put more money in their bank, you know. So you got the mob, you know, the angry mob with the forks and pitchforks at the ready, and then you got the smaller group of people on the inner circle, and it's the same in any walk of life, I would say, you know. It's the same in any industry.
Definitely.
But just people just don't listen to it, you know. So
yeah, that's we both used to work in the fitness industry, and it was exactly like if you get them a free program or a free PT session, whatever, they couldn't probably didn't even open it. And yet when you charge, I don't know, 1,000 or 2,000 for something, they were there on time, they wanted to know everything.
Yeah, and then also like you get a better quality of person.
Yeah.
You
They
know,
show up in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. You get a better quality of person that really wants it, you know, because they're not willing to pay the money today because they don't want it.
Yeah.
You know, and the guy that's a bad candidate today, he can be a good candidate tomorrow because he just gets his fucking shit together, like, you know. And even there, like for me, like when we've got an issue in the office, I'm like, just find someone, pay them, get it done. But the problem is, so many times we come across these bleeding shysters that can't get stuff done that we need to get done.
Yeah.
It's a bit demoralising, but you know, this is life, you know.
That's what you're working with, isn't it?
One thing, Joe, that really impressed me from doing a bit of research on you was, I know Grant Cardone was like a mentor of yours who you worked with, and there was a video you put on Facebook over lockdown of when you got to have a phone call with him. And he was talking, so you were, for people who haven't seen the video, you were talking him through basically your current situation. You had, I think it was 12 million, let's say, worth of property at the time. You wanted to get it towards 100 million. And on the phone, you're like, Grant, what do I need to do? Just tell me what I need to do. What's the question I need to ask you? Like, what's the data I'm missing? What is it that I'm not seeing? And his advice to you was, in the most simplest terms, sell everything you have now and start from scratch and go again, because you have to do it in a different way to get to 100 million. And how open you are to just taking that advice on board and be like, fuck, I'm not going to pay Grant money to be my mentor and then like argue with him over what I need to do or like not take the advice, and to go down that path and trust it is like, it's so simple and basic, but 99% of people will just push back or fight back and not do it and not take action on it.
Yeah, so like I didn't sell everything and start again, but I did start again.
Yeah.
I didn't have the balls to basically sell everything.
Get rid of
so that's an interesting video. Next time you watch that video, right, you can have a look at it. Like Linda's at the company here.
I know, you have it in the comments.
Right? And I just got a chance to talk to him on the phone. And so, like, you know, I took my own teachings in that call, right? So if anybody wants to watch the video, it's probably a good lesson in it. When you get an opportunity to speak to somebody who's far above you, right? You either listen or you ask questions. You don't tell them anything because they don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
Right? In that regard.
Yep.
Right? So ask questions or listen to what they have to say. And then what if you say it wrong? Or what if you don't ask the question correctly? Or what if you forget something? So write it down. So if you see that I'm on the phone, I have the questions on front of me and I had somebody recording it in case I forgot. You know?
Yes,
So if someone's
yeah.
recording me on the phone with him, I'm walking around my bedroom in my flip-flops and my lockdown haircut and I'm reading it out. And I said to him, like, I'm at 12 million, I want to go to 100 million. And I heard you saying that there's some information missing to go to that next level, you know? And he didn't really answer the question I didn't find. So I asked him again, you know? And he just said, sell everything and start again. And people are like, geez, a bit smart here on the phone that day.
Yeah.
Was he like, no, that's a bit cocky to say that. But then, you know, we digest that in the head and we're looking at all these different deals that we've done that I'm like, what the fuck did we do that deal for? You know, why did we do that deal? So we done a deal there a little while ago down the country. We bought a house for 70 grand and we sold it for 125 grand, right? On the face of it, it's a great deal. The reality, it was a bullshit deal.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't sell it, we were stuck with it. We couldn't rent it out. It was too far away and all that, you know? So would I do that deal again? No. It's too far. It's outside of our... Because we can do stuff pretty much on automation now. Like, it's in the mix with everything else, you know? Other deals we done where we just didn't make the money on them that we could potentially make if we went up to bigger stuff. So we said, right, that's it. We're not doing any more of them smaller deals. We're only going after the bigger stuff now. And since then, we've done 1, 2, 3, we've done like 5 million quid deals, you know?
Yep.
Where before that then, we were always doing like 200, 250 grand.
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
So now we're like, right, the benchmark is million quid onwards. And then if you fast forward that, so that would have been, I wonder when that was. When was lockdown? 22, was it? 21?
21.
So that was like
Yeah.
3 years ago. You know, so we've stuck 10 million onto the portfolio size in the last 3 years, like, you know. And then you would like to think that we could probably stick more than 10 million on in the next 3 years, you know. So the rate of growth, you know, you see it an upward curve,
Yes,
like it's not
yeah.
a steady curve.
Linear,
It's like-
yeah.
It's not linear, it's exponential.
Exponential, yeah.
So we just need to stop doing stuff that's not getting us, that's not going to allow us to get where we want to get, you know. So if I do 20 deals a year and they're 250 properties, you know, so what's that, 5 million quid a year? It's very hard for me based on my current capacity to do 20 deals in a year, like. But if I do 5 million quid deals, do the numbers on that, that's the same, isn't it? Yes,
Same outcome,
thing.
yep, same outcome.
No, and it's much less hassle, you know, and it's achievable. And then if you do 5, surely you can bring a bit more manpower and you can do 10.
Yeah.
And you're just at a different level then, you know. So we're focusing on that bigger stuff now, like, and you know the market's changing, it gets difficult, there's challenges there all the time. So we're moving away from the challenging stuff. We're finding it's actually easier on the bigger end now as well, which is
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
It's just you learn as you go along. So he was 100% bang on the money in telling me to sell everything and start again, 100%. But people wouldn't recognise that.
No.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think everything you said there, and since you started talking, it's reminded me of a book. I don't know if you've read it, but Adam recommended it to me. It's called 10x is easier than 2x.
No,
No,
that. No.
I would definitely recommend reading it.
Very good, yeah.
The principle of the book, anyways, is focusing on the 20% of things that gets you to 80% of your results.
Yeah.
And like you were saying there, rather than doing like X amount of smaller deals, do Y amount of bigger deals and you get the same outcome.
Yeah.
But there's something kind of woven into that I think a lot of people, when they get that sort of information, fail, and it's fear. It's like looking on a screen and saying, this is going to cost me €1 million. That's frightening.
That's scary stuff.
What was
like,
that like for you coming over that fear bubble?
Listen, I'd be shitting myself all the time, even as I'm sitting there saying to you, I have to fucking fix that thing. Like I am constantly in a state of near crapping me pants. Constantly. And the minute I get a bit comfortable, I'm like, right, on to the next one. And one day Linda just fucking flipped out at me because I'm bringing this stuff home and she's like, I'm fucking sick of you. The minute you get to where you want to be, you're just pushing on to the next thing straight away. I'm like, no, I'm not. It's like, that deal was meant to be the last deal, and then that one before was meant to be the last deal. This one, like, jeez, yeah, you're right, you know. Better stop saying that, you know. But it's a constant state of, I don't know, it's like there's the entrepreneurs in your head, and then there's the human, and the human is like a fearful person. Oh, geez, don't go there. And then the entrepreneur is like, honestly, like, what the fuck's the worst thing that can happen? Like, you know, so it's much easier to listen to him. But sometimes when you're like, so for me, like when you're alone in the dark room and you're getting a little bit fearful, it's just like, I'm gonna work harder tomorrow. more effective tomorrow. I'm not going for a drink tonight because my head won't be in the game tomorrow, and I'm going to go for a run tomorrow. And when I go for a run and clear the head, that little fucking noisy fucker that keeps saying, you can't do this, he points down for a couple of days.
Yes,
or for the day. So it's a constant battle in the head, like, you know. But I recognise that, you know. And I'd say most people that even hear me saying that would say, would have never thought that listening to him. You know, it's a constant battle, you know. Like, even, like, I have this thing, like, if somebody wants to spend money with you and you don't take that money, providing it's the good fit, that's you throwing a signal out to the universe that you don't want it, you know. So we're getting into the car coming over here, and I'm loading the stuff up, and how's it going? You know, and she was like, oh yeah, I was waiting on you to ring. So, oh, lovely, you know. I was like, you know, and I'm driving over here to you guys, and we're recording a video on the way over. Like, right, if I don't ring him now, he's going to be waiting. That's not me doing a good job for him, and it's the quickest sale of my life, like, you know? And then we're back in, so we're always just cramming stuff in, like, just to keep pushing with it, you know. But you see, the difference with the work that I believe I'm doing now is that every single client that I acquire is getting me closer to my goal. Whereas for a lot of tradesmen, every single job they get is just keeping them on that treadmill.
Yes,
you know? So what I do with lads is, so like, okay, so your dad's a toiler, right? So let's say I'm talking to him and he has a rental property, just saying he wants to get another one, and it's after taking him years to get that. I'm like, okay, well, look, let's look at it this way. You want to get another one? Right. Let's look at that. What type of work you do? Oh, I do bathrooms. Okay. How long does it take to do a bathroom? How much do you make out of a bathroom? So he's like, yeah, I do a bathroom in a week, and after all's said and done, I clear $1,000 just to pick a number. I'm like, okay. So that means then if we get you to do one bathroom every second week, you've got $26,000 extra at the end of the year. Perfect, yeah. Okay, so the deposit for the house is $50,000. You've got $25,000, say, one bathroom every second week, or, you know, or if you can do one bathroom a week for 6 months, you're going to have your deposit in 6 months. So what happens then is he's going out talking to Mary to price the job, and he knows when he prices 2 jobs, he gets 1. So if he has to do 26 bathrooms to buy a house, he only needs to price 52, and he effectively has the house, because with the metrics as they are in the business, he'll win 1 out of every 2.
Yeah.
And when he does 26 of them, he's ready to go.
He's got it, yeah.
You know, and then you kind of get that into his head, and you link every single thing to them. And when you make it so urgent that a long weekend away is going to slow down the success of the plan, they say, no, fuck that, I'm not going, I'll stay. And then we work on the base of 7-week bursts. So the lads go flat to them after 7 weeks, and then they take a little break and 7 weeks again.
Right.
So, okay, right, so here's your target. You've only got 4 bursts that you need to do, and you'll have the house. Right, no bother. And then they're out of bed earlier in the morning. And then I always ask lads, what's your wife think of you doing this course, you know? Or what's your wife think of you working with me? To be honest, I didn't tell her yet. It's like, right, if you didn't tell her yet, this is how to handle it. It's like, right, what is it? Don't tell her. And when she says to you, what's up with you lately? There's a bit more of a pep in your step. Then tell her, because you know then that's working. It's like, right, no bother. And then before they finished their initial term, they're like, Jeez, Joe, you're dead right. She's saying to me, what's John up to? I'm just fucking going. I'm getting stuck in here. I want to buy the house. I want to do this, you know. But people around them start to notice it, you know.
Yeah.
Because the lads are on this fucking treadmill for
sense
years.
of purpose comes, yeah.
Yeah, sense of purpose, yeah. And the bigger your purpose. So I was actually talking to a chap there the other day, he's a business owner as well. And we were talking about people doing us wrong in business, right? And it was an interesting conversation because we were talking about the people who had done us wrong and how we didn't give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
And how other people had been wronged by other people. Basically, there was 3 of us talking. And one guy was saying how someone he knew was wronged by someone else and there was a big fallout.
Right.
And then me and the other guy were like, oh, that happened to me. I just didn't care, you know. I didn't care. And he was like, yeah, I didn't care either. I didn't know. We did care, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But we cared enough to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But we didn't care enough to lose sleep over it. And basically what happened then was I came to the conclusion of the conversation was that the bigger your purpose, the less you give a fuck about little bits and pieces going wrong on you. You know, and once you have that vision, it's much better than just plugging away, like, you know. And it is unfortunate. There's so many lads out there just on that treadmill, you know. And they'll probably be on it till the day they pack it in, like, you know.
Yeah,
and even there now, so I'm 40 now this year. So that means now, as the numbers say, I'm not as young as I used to be, you know. So the next 10 years I'll be old. Because I still think, how old are you boys?
25 tomorrow.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, because I think I'm 25. I 100% think I'm 25. And I don't see any difference between 25-year-old me and 40-year-old me in the physical sense.
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
But the numbers say, like, you need to slow down. So, like, most of my clients be either older than me or some that are in around the same age. I'm like, now, look, as you go to 40, like, you have to start relying more on what you get done as opposed to what you do yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and like that kind of hits home with them because it's hard out graph with the boys climbing through attics, putting in pipes and cables and
Yeah,
you know, on your knees all day as a toiler or whatever, you know.
Big time, yeah. It's not a long lifespan like of a career. It's,
Yeah, I think the plasterers get the worst going over.
do they, yeah.
Yeah.
Their elbows and all those big anjacks, you know.
Unfortunately, most people wait until they're in that fucking position of,
Yeah, but crisis comes,
the
now I have to
body's
figure it
done,
out,
now
yeah,
what
yeah.
do I do, as opposed to being proactive with it. And
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'd like to think the new generation of tradesmen coming up are a little bit more conscious of looking
Of that.
after themselves. Like, you know, I can remember years ago working with the outlet, and you know, just little things stick in the head. Like you'd be on site with the lads and you'd be carrying blocks and like, oh, my hands are killing. Piss on them. Make your heart all the out. Piss on them. Fucking pissing on me. That's what we used to do years ago. Piss on your hands and make them hard. You know, and I remember we had to go, we were only about like 15, we had to go and take a scaffold down, right?
Yeah.
So the owl lad sent an owl boy with us, and there was me and my buddy. So we were like 14 or 15, and there was this scaffold up at the side of the house. It was a pure ropey looking thing, shaky as fuck, like, you know. And man's like, get up there, take that scaffold down. I'm like, it's pure. I do it myself only, I don't like heights. Get up there and take that down, you know. So he didn't like heights, he's sending us up. All sorts of carry on. Like, there was no health and safety.
Yeah,
There was
yeah,
no, like, just these old school boys, like,
Yeah.
didn't give a fuck about anything, like, you know. And then I grew up and do it there, you know. Just whereas nowadays, you know, we think like the next generation's gone a little bit softer, which
Yeah.
I believe they definitely have, but they're gone a little bit more aware as well. Then at the same time, like that, you need to look after yourself. And, like when I was working with the owl lad as a kid, like most of the stuff was like when I was still in school and as a like, you know, 10, 11, 12, you know, going the owl lad, like he'd leave the house in the morning and he'd drive to pick up two lads, and he'd always have like a pickup.
Yep.
And I'd be sitting in the pickup with him, and then two other lads would get in, and my dad doesn't smoke, but the two boys would have a smoke in the pickup, like, right?
Yeah,
In the
yeah,
pickup.
yeah.
And I'd be sitting there like that, and be out like, don't be cheeky, you know. And I don't like the smell of smoke, and so I'd be just sitting like that in between the two boys, two old lads in the front of like a Dyna pickup, going to work somewhere around Clondalkin or Ballia, and they're just sitting there smoking, and I was like, no one gave a fuck, you know. And then most instances, then in a lot of instances, he wouldn't drop them home after work. He'd drop them to the pub. So
No
the
way.
boys would like do a bit of graft, go
Yeah,
a few
yeah,
points, go home, and I don't think many tradesmen do that nowadays, really. But
The missus wouldn't allow it. Yeah.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
wouldn't get away with
absolutely.
that.
The missus, the power that was changed over to the
Yeah, it
missus.
has.
Yeah.
It's funny. You made a video there. I think it was sometime this week. We were talking about, I don't know the exact title. It was like 3 things that will make you fail in business. And it was funny, but it was very Irish, but also very true. It was like one of the points you made was if you found it a gargle, like
number
it's gonna
one
work
thing.
against it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it's the drink and everything else that comes with it.
Yeah,
These
yeah,
lads
yeah.
aren't just drinking, like, you know. And then like, did you see? You don't know if you read the comments on that. Like, I think
No, I
probably
didn't go
stop
through
reading
them.
these bleeding comments. the best tradesmen, some of the best tradesmen I know are always in on the Monday club. You know, some of the most successful builders I know love a few points. I'm like, fucking hell, man. There's just someone ready to disagree with you,
On
no matter
anything,
what you
yeah,
say. But yeah, I was actually going to make another video then just after the maddest things that I heard tradesmen saying, you know. And you could kind of like, if I said this, they'd be like, oh, fucking tradesmen. But like, this is the mentality of the tradesmen till I come in, you know.
Yes.
And tell them, don't be like that. So a fellow was saying like, yeah, I have all these jobs booked in, but I'm not going to get to that one, you know. So she's paid the deposit, but you know the way you might do a little bit of ducking and diving, and you ring her back the next day or anything like that. I'm like, what do you mean by ducking and diving? You know the way you might be stuck in a job and she'll ring her the next day and she'll be hopping your phone over. I'm like, no, don't be fucking ducking and diving. Ring her in advance of her ringing you to let her know. Right then, I'll do that. And that's it. There's no more ducking and diving, you know. Another fella said to me before, which is the maddest thing ever, like, you know. He says, I have this idea. He says, what I'll do is I'll go out to the client and I'll do the survey and I'll price the job up and I'll bring my bag with me and I'll leave a recorder in the bag. And when I give them, the recorder will be on.
Right.
And I'll give them the price. And then I'll say, oh, listen, I just have to step out and take a phone call. And I'll go out and talk on the phone for 5 or 10 minutes. And I'll come back in and I'll say, listen, I'll have to go, I'll ring you later. And I'll listen to what they're saying in the house when I'm gone, you know.
Fuck's sake.
And then I'll know if they're going to give me the job. And I'm like, look, don't fucking do that. You don't need to do that. Ask them, do you like that price? Is it too expensive or is it too cheap? Because if it's too cheap, they put more stuff in. And I'm telling them how to ask the clients if they're happy with the price.
Yeah.
All right, that's grand, you know. And you just need to be told, like, you know. And that guy's been making a fortune ever since, you know, because lads just don't know what to do. And they're listening to the wrong people.
Oh, stop, yeah.
Just saying mad stuff. Like, just loads of mad things that pop up, you know. But this is the game we're in.
Some characters in that industry, in that.
For sure, man. But it's funny, you can be an absolute expert in your craft and then an absolute beginner in
and
business.
everything else.
But you
Yeah.
need a certain amount of humility to be willing to just accept that and learn from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for me, I just wish that I could find someone that is doing what I'm doing on a much bigger scale, so that I could just follow.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be the holy grail for me. Like, rather than trying not to figure it out myself, you know.
Yeah.
There's no one at the moment, is there, that's in that space?
People out there doing various different things, like, but not that I know of.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like I'm sure that there's somebody there that I can learn from, but I just haven't connected
them
with
yet.
that individual yet, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. You spoke a lot about like productivity, getting shit done, having that. Actually, it reminds me a lot of, I'm reading Elon Musk's biography at the moment that was done, and one of the things that he said when he bought Tesla, when he bought SpaceX, when he bought Twitter is like, and I'll try to repeat it word for word, but I might fuck it up, is like a maniacal sense of urgency is our operating procedure. So I was like, we just get shit done as soon as it gets done, like that's it. And like loads of mad stories from him. But for you, especially men who are like of that age in that sort of industry, is there any like hacks, let's say productivity wise, anything you do within your life that helps you have that energy and be able to go and get shit done?
Let me answer the thing about Elon Musk, right?
Go ahead, yeah.
The genius about that man, right? Obviously, he's the king of Mars,
Yeah.
Like, he's built massive teams of people, right? So they can get massive amounts of stuff done. I'm not as good building teams as I am doing stuff, and it's a weakness on my end. So, like, I've got 7 employees, I think, you know, and if I could take that out to 70 and have the same level of productivity, easy, but I'm just not that good at that, and I recognise that, and it kind of bothers me, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'm in the trenches myself, and I'm gonna need to get out of that so that I can go to the next level, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't have all that stuff
Figured
sussed,
out, yeah.
you know. But like I always use this term caveman economics. It's very simple. Walk out of your cave, get a stick, sharpen it, stab something in the neck, drag it back to the hairy caveman wife. She'll cook it on the fire, you go back out and get another. That's survival. That's all it is. But nowadays we don't have spears, we have iPhones and Wi-Fi and fucking
The wife
podcasts and was it?
The wife shaves.
The wife's not as hairy, hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
You know, but you don't have that, but it's the same concept, you know.
Yes, yeah.
Basic principles, like.
Yeah, like it's you know, people will be saying stuff to me like that guy when he says, you know that you'd be doing a bit of ducking and diving, and I said, no, what you mean? Well, you know.
Yeah. The hand movements, yeah.
No, I don't. What are you talking about? Well, you know. So you're talking about ignoring people's calls when they're going to be spending money with you and ringing them back down at a time that suits yourself because you don't have the discipline to ring them now. Is that what you're talking about? When you put it like that, you know.
Yeah.
So just say it exactly as is. I find is the best thing. And like you'd be ringing people and they'd be like, actually, there's a great thing. It's mad how things stick in your head, right? Now Eddie Murphy Raw. You ever see that?
Yes.
He's on stage, like it's in the 80s, has the red leather suit on him and all, the leather jacket. It's a leather suit, isn't it? There's a clip in that where he was slagging Mr. T.
Right.
And he goes to a party and Mr. T is there, you know, and he's saying to a security guard, oh, give me away Mr. T, give me away Mr. T. He's hiding on him, you know. And then the security guard comes over and so Mr. T leaves or something like that. You watch the thing, it's very funny. But then he goes, Michael Jackson's over there. You have to be slagging him before, aren't you? So what? Stick this glove up his ass. You know? But basically, like he's ducking and diving because he's afraid of Mr. T. But when Michael Jackson comes in, like, so what? You know. And then like people will be ringing me, and I'll be on calls with clients and potential people I'm doing deals with, and they're giving me excuses. I'm like, and all in my head, I'm just thinking of Eddie Murphy saying, "So what? So what?"
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's like, just get it done, like
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And I don't believe that there's any. Don't believe that there's any secret to it or key to it, you know. Like if I suppose this is probably one of the first things that I've done in my business in 12 months that I can't see it helping me get to me 100 million.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I just didn't like, you know, I don't believe your audience is my audience. It's fine. But I just thought, fuck, I can't help the boys, you know. We're locals. Now we know each other because I know you're and all that.
Yeah.
But like every single thing with me is linked in it, you know. One of the lads chasing the robbing out of the house there today, and I'm like, no. Apart from I thought he was gonna break the window. I'm like, record it and I'll put it on Instagram, you know. And I just caught the rod and put it. I was like, no, I like seeing that stuff. I like seeing a bit of nature. People, I like that. You know, people are always talking to us about the chickens. Did you see the chickens?
Yes, and the fox.
The chickens are celebrities there, you know. Now that the baby is not as much of a baby, she's kind of dwindling in terms of popularity on social media. So the chickens are taking over now. But like we're making videos all the time about business, and when you bring in something that's a bit of crack, people actually like it and appreciate it, you know. I got one complaint about the fox. I was like, Joe, just shoot the fucking fox and start talking about building again, will you? I'm not shooting the fox. They're our most popular videos.
I'd say so, yeah, you'll be like David Attenborough next.
Oh, it's mad, like, yeah, I'm like, fucking hell, man, I'm making videos last 6 years, delivering massive value.
Yeah.
And then I get a few chickens, and all of a sudden people don't want to know me no more. They're coming to my page for the chickens, you know? Whatever the people want, we give them.
Man of the people. How a chicken gets on the property ladder. So that could be the next video.
There we go. Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know if you've seen the one where the chicken went into the house one day. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, it's hilarious. Like, I was just down the end of the garden, and the baby is like, quick, and she's pure like sense of urgency, like, you know, quick, like, what the fuck, you know? And I runs up, like, what's wrong, Lucy? And I'm like, Lucy the chicken? Yeah, she's upstairs, you know? I'm like, what the fuck, you know? So she went up, so Arlie went up to wash her hands. We've got this big old house, and there's a sink in every bedroom.
Okay.
And Arlie wanted to wash her hands, so she walks all the way up to her bedroom to wash her hands in her little pink sink. That's a big old pink sink, and the chicken followed her, you know. And I was like, what? So she turned around, got a fright. The chicken was there, so she runs down to tell me. I goes back up with her, and I recorded her running up the stairs. I think got like about 2 million views, and that was the first instance of, holy shit, people are mad for the chickens here, you know.
Yeah.
Then the fox ate the chickens. Heartbreak. Had to get Gucci Gang number 2 to come in and replace the old Gucci Gang. And then people are like, what's happened to Fox? What's happened to Fox? All the time, like.
No way, it's like EastEnders or something here.
Yeah, it's mad all the time. Like, and people fella sent me a video yesterday. You should use this to trap the fox, you know. It's like all the time, constantly. Still talking about, and we haven't seen him now in a couple of weeks.
He was off for the Christmas. He'd be back.
I don't know. I was thinking that when was he? Yeah, but they're saying that now. He's like, don't get comfortable because
he'll
be around. Like,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It was heartbreaking looking at the footage of him actually eating the chickens.
Oh, I can imagine.
No way, that was like, oh, because I thought, like, Linda's brother had said, listen, when you get chickens, or now that you have chickens, do not give them a name. I'm not giving the chicken a name. They're just there to lay a few eggs, like, you know. Right, kids come over, they give them a name, right? And one of them was called Gucci, so we called them the Gucci Gang. The next minute, one of them is sick, and they was like, oh my God, something wrong with the chicken's leg. Is you all right, you know? And then the door wasn't closed. Fox came in, had a sniff at them all, and a little bit of I actually had to drive down the country to get replacement chickens the same colour.
Right, yeah.
Before the baby knew, you know.
No.
And so there's 5 of them, and I got 4 of them the same, and one of them different. But the different one had a little bit of the similar colour. So
right.
Because all the feathers were scattered on the ground. They say, oh, she just got new feathers. You know? So she fell for that, you know. So she'd see this video now in 3 or 4
Heartbreak. Yeah.
The gig is over.
Yeah, the gig is up, yeah. But it's just mad, like, that people are interested in that stuff. Because, like, business is quite boring, like. A lot of times, like, you know, and that's, like, I suppose you're kind of breaking it up a little bit, you know.
That's it. Some personality into it.
Yeah.
Make it human.
Yeah, that's when I see other people trying to do stuff, and I'm like, oh man, he hasn't got that piece going. Not the personality, like, because everybody has the personality. It's like he doesn't have the bleeding the back end going on. I was like, jeez, that guy, so fucking charismatic. So
yes,
bleeding.
yeah.
You would be drawn to him if he could just get his shit together on the back end. Mm-hmm. He could clean up, like, you know.
Yeah.
You didn't see that thing with the bingo loco going around the other day? See that?
Yeah, man, on the RTE news.
That guy was bleeding.
He was gas, wasn't he?
He was hilarious. He was.
Slipped and fell into a 3-day session.
Yeah. I was like, geez, like, there's a guy now that will. I'm sure that's going to go further.
Oh,
like,
yeah, get some sponsorship or some brand deal or something now, probably.
He could be a very charismatic person, you know. If he can stay off the benders.
Yeah.
You know, but, like, if that was faked, it's the best fake ever. I don't think it was, like,
I don't think so. It was fucking gas.
Yeah, it was very funny. That's fucking hilarious. But you're always looking at that sort of stuff because you have to have that hook, I think, on the social media nowadays to attract people in, like, and make them just stop scrolling for like 20 seconds, and then you can deliver a bit of
value to them.
After that, you know.
Big time. I wanted to ask you, because you're someone who's so driven and focused on a business goal, a professional goal, do you find it hard to, like, switch into dad mode and family mode?
No.
No.
No, I actually don't think I do. I find it hard to go into the mode of doing nothing. So I'm usually kind of all in on one or all in on something else, like, you know. But no, not like during the day, like, you know, when I leave the house in the morning, I'm kind of gone until I'm back, if that makes sense, you know. And then when I'm back, like, I'll say, look, Linda, I've got a call at this time and a call at this time, and then I'm free. Other than that, like, I do work a lot, like, and like I was actually saying, so my youngest daughter was born on my oldest daughter's 18th birthday. So
Right.
to the day, they have the same birthday.
I didn't know you had an older child as well.
So I've got an older daughter and a younger daughter, so 3 and 21. And I never took the older daughter to school. Would have dropped her to school very, very rarely. Never collected her because that's flat smack in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Didn't get involved too much in that stuff. Went to the parent teacher meetings and that. But I was gone.
Yeah.
And that was Linda's gig, you know. And that's like a sacrifice that I had to make to get ahead, you know. And now I'm lucky enough that I can bring my 3-year-old to creche every day. Linda collects her then at 1 o'clock. I put her to bed every night. Whereas like my older daughter, like sometimes there would be days where I wouldn't have seen her because I'd be gone before she got out of bed and I'd come back afterwards. And it's not great, you know, it's not a great arrangement, but that was a sacrifice that I had to make. But the problem is, and that's fine, right? The problem for some of the other people is they've sacrificed that time not to get ahead. You know, and look, the entrepreneurial world is like high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
You know, if it all fell apart tomorrow, well, at least I could say I had a blast and I've done my best for it, you know. But when you find people that are doing that are gone from the family so long, but they don't have the opportunity to create that wealth or that legacy or that better life for the family, I find that's a bit sad, you know.
Yes.
And then sometimes lads will be saying, oh, well, okay, you can't get the years back with your kids and all that, and, you know, and they're 100% dead right. But, like, if you're not going to make your money in your 20s and 30s, you ain't going to just miraculously start making it in the same line of work in your 40s.
Yeah.
You know, you have to put the graft in, I feel, no matter what. Like, if I could put the graft, if I could get the result without putting the graft in, I'd be all over it, but I just don't know any way of doing it, you know. I'm sure I'd be a little bit obsessive in something else, like, probably do a bit more sports. Like, even now, like, the training and all that's kind of took a back seat. I used to do, like, long runs all the time, and I'm kind of finished with that now, because it's like, I'm either working out or with the family.
Yeah.
And the working out, like, so working 50% of the time, working out was like 25% of the free time, and with the family 20. I'm like, nah, that's not good. So now I'm like, I work out for like an hour a day, 5k run, max is what I do. Love, like, my mate is like he's an up and coming ultra runner. Like, he's brilliant. He is. He's like, he's getting, you know, podium places on big 100k, 200k races.
Sick.
And it's very inspiring to see him. And I love that sort of running as well. But I have to not do it. Because it's taken away from something else. Because you can't do everything at the one time.
No, unfortunately not.
So I'm happy to, for now, to forgo with that. Yeah. So look, we'll see how long it takes to get to this next stage, you know.
That's it.
You have to run your own race. Pardon the pun.
Yeah, 100%. Run your own race, yeah, exactly.
But I don't know if you don't mind changing subject.
No, I'm good.
So I wanted to ask you, Joe, you're obviously a landlord, which is a bit of a dirty word these days. People don't seem to like them.
Yeah, that's why you turn the camera off.
But as two young fellas who know fuck all about the property sector in Ireland, aside from, it's very hard to buy a house when you're in a relationship, and even harder when you're on your own. What's some things that are like misconstrued about the property sector in Ireland, and like what's going on at the moment? Why is it in the predicament that it's in?
Smashing question, by the way. So this is like fact, right? So landlords are viewed as the enemy. There's a shortage of houses, right? The way I just relate to that is, let's imagine there's a famine, there's a shortage of food, and all of a sudden everybody hates the farmers that's still producing. Right?
Yeah.
There's much less landlords in the country now than what there ever was. And people are blaming the landlords on absolutely everything. You know, the few landlords that are left are getting blamed on everything, which is absolutely crazy, you know. And it shouldn't be that. What's happened is, if you go back there, and this is my kind of interpretation of what's happened, up to 2007, we had the crash, an absolute abundance of oversupply. I think there was like 80,000 surplus units in the country at that stage. It might have been 50, I don't know. At that time, somebody needed to be held responsible. Bankers, developers, builders, they were all held responsible. So the political will to support a banker, the banking industry, the construction industry, or the developers was gone. So they just simply didn't want to be supported because look what they done. But the oversupply dwindled down, and it got to the point where there was no surplus supply, no excess surplus. Then there was no surplus. Then there was a shortage, and it still wasn't. There still wasn't the political will to support it, because politicians don't care what's best. They care what's going to keep them in power.
Yeah.
And if they support something and the political will is not there, they'll just get voted out. And we had Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael running the country all the time about 2007 and even onwards, right? And you've just got Sinn Féin doing their absolute utmost to get into power. And all that Sinn Féin are doing is they're picking something and they're just attacking every move that the government makes with regard to that. So you can imagine fairly fresh after the crash, if the finance minister come out and says, we're announcing a package to incentivise builders to get back into the market, Sinn Féin went, look at them, look what they doing, and they're going to do it again, you know. So the government was bringing in all these knee-jerk reactions to the opposition's basically tactics. And the two things, well, the one main thing that the left-wing governments have latched on, not the government, sorry, the left-wing parties, which is just pretty much Sinn Féin, is housing. So there's a million and one things wrong with the country, but they've latched on to that. So the government, whether they like to accept it or not, they keep making legislation in response to the noise that the left-wingers are making, you know. And while they're doing that, people like me are like, oh, Jesus, another piece of paperwork that I have to fill in now because of that. Another regulation. Oh, another fee for this.
Yeah.
Oh, nah, I'm not going to buy that other house, you know. I'm not going to buy that other house. I'm not going to buy that other house. And not only that, then they're getting out of the market. So while they're getting out of the market, nobody else is getting back in. So there's no shortage of houses. There is a shortage of rental houses. And if you build a house, I saw seen something there the other day. Like they're playing an absolute stormer. Like if you look at Sinn Féin, like they're not saying yes to anything. They're just criticising the government, you know. So and I don't really give a shit who's in power. I mean, I'm concerned about what they're going to do. Because of what they said they're going to do, that's going to be a problem, and that's why I'm not expanding. Like, so when somebody messages me and says, "Hey, my friend told me to give you a call. You're a landlord. Can you give us a shout? And you get another house?" Well, the reason why I ain't getting another house is because what these guys are doing. So we're not expanding in that space anymore. But what's happening is, I'm losing my train of thought there now. I was saying something there the other day where if you build houses and you build them to rent, they're not available for homeowners. But the problem, there's no shortage of houses for homeowners. There's a shortage of houses for rent. And some crowd built a load of houses and somebody was going in, I think one company bought the whole lot of them. And Sinn Féin were on, the government need to stop them buying houses because them houses are going to be available to rent now. Whatever amount of money. And it was fairly expensive. I can't remember what I said. I was like, it was $3,000 a month. I was like, how the fuck's going to be able to pay $3,000 a month, right? But the state will fund that. Most likely for somebody, right? So it's kind of becoming a social housing. But we've got a shortage, and we've got a shortage of rental properties, and the only way to deal with that is to build more. And they're not actually building more, so let them buy more. But when they buy more, then they're putting them out of the reach of the homeowners. You know, so you've got two parts of the one thing. Like the cost that landlords are having to deal with is fucking crazy. Like there's taxes and levies and, you know, fines for this and that. You do anything wrong, it's very hard to stay straight down the middle nowadays, you know. And it's just an unattractive environment for people to get into. So most landlords will be 55 years or older now at this stage, and they need to get out now, because if they don't get out now, if and when Sinn Féin get in, the capital gains tax is going to be increased. So the 100 grand that they make today will be like making 50 grand in 5 years time or 3 years time, whatever. So they need to get out today, and most of them are getting out. And all that the government are doing now is they're putting more and more restrictions on what an individual can do with the property that he's bought.
Okay.
Which means then the individual's like, oh, I'm not buying that. I'll go into commercial. I'll go into this. I'll go into that, you know. And it's making it worse. And I believe it's going to get a lot worse for the landlords before it gets better. I think like there was so much opportunity in the property market in 2009, 10, 11, 12, when the receivers repossessed all the properties and they were selling them again, and you could buy properties for buttons, but it wasn't popular to be buying property then. But that's going to happen again in certain sectors, because if Sinn Féin implement all the things that they've said they're going to implement, there's going to be a massive crash. So I seen a video there a while ago, and I didn't believe it to be true until I'd done some research on it. Basically, Mary Lou MacDonald, and I don't really care. This is as political as I get.
Yeah,
Mary
yeah.
Lou MacDonald, Pierce Doherty, and somebody else went in and had a meeting with PricewaterhouseCoopers. They're one of the big 4 accountancy firms in the country. Apparently, PwC reached out to them and said, "Hey, looks like you guys are going to be in government next. I think we should be friends. They should know what's coming down the track, right? Let's all have a little sit in. Let's be friends. Let's get cozy, right?" At the end of the meeting, PwC wrote out to all their clients advising them to sell off all their assets. Because, and you can check this out, because they've seen the proposals that Sinn Féin have for when they get into power. And they're going to just destroy so much of the economy, like, you know. So for a big reputable firm like that to say that, that's crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And if you look at what they're doing, like, they only care about getting into power.
Yeah.
That's all. They have had no opinion or no sense of input or constructive input on COVID, because, you know, is it a hoax? Is it genuine? It's, who knows? We'll say nothing. Immigration, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? We don't know what way the public is going to go. We'll say nothing. So they don't have an opinion on anything. They're just going to do whatever they need to do to get themselves into power, you know. So there's worse things coming down the line, but it was all political will, forced on the existing government by the left, because they were in the shits and the ratings based on what happened. Like, and the crash wasn't just unique to Ireland or Europe; it was a worldwide thing. So it was coming that way for a long time, you know. So people need to understand that landlords are the solution. If you don't view a landlord as a solution, like if you're hungry and you can smell bread, the baker is the solution to your hunger. Simple as that. Beautiful smell of bread out there.
Oh, it was class, wasn't it?
You know, so whoever's baking that bread is the solution to hunger. So if you're looking for somewhere to live, the solution to that is either the government giving you a free house, which they ain't going to do that, or a landlord buying a house and renting it to you. You know, so it's the hot topic nowadays.
Yeah,
you know? It's an easy way to get slated online. Say
Very,
I'm landlord, and you'll know all about it.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Indeed. As to younger people, let's say, not the youngest, but getting up there in the world, like anything I see online related to the property market, anything housing related in Ireland is almost like impossible. No point, move abroad, go to Australia, do whatever else, etc. Like, if you were advising us two young people who were looking to get on the property ladder, for example, what would you say is our best bet?
Right, so when you say, if you're looking at advise us two young people, right, young is an excuse word that you're putting in there, right? So if you're advising us two people, right, so you're using young as a little bit of a justification for you not doing whatever it is you want to do or you should do. Same way, like when I'm talking to tradesmen, it's like, yeah, if you were talking to a fella that was just in business 3 years, what would you do? Like, first of all, I'd take that just in 3 years out and put it in the bin.
Yeah.
So if you were talking to a guy who's not yet doing what he wants, so
What would you advise? Yeah.
yeah, so again, if you are my client now and you're saying to me, right, I can't buy a house, I'm like, okay, well, how much effort are you putting in?
Mm-hmm.
How much effort did you put in today? How much effort did you put in yesterday? Okay, when was the last day you put any effort in?
Yeah.
Oh, last Friday. What were we doing? I was on Daft. Right, okay, so you're sitting on the jacks, taking a shit, and you had your phone out and you were scrolling Daft. Something like that, yeah. Right, that's, you know, or I was just wherever, right? How long were you on that for? 10 minutes. Okay, so you've got a problem that's a fairly big problem in your life now, and the last time you took any action on that was 1 week ago, and the amount of time you put into that was 10 minutes. So you're now using the justification or all the bullshit that's in the media to buy into the narrative that you can't do it. So that's straight away, like, and we could be talking about anybody of any age, of any topic there. Simple as that, you know. And then, you know, do you know where you want to live? Do you know roughly where you want to live?
Right, let's say Clondalkin,
Right.
Hypothetically,
how much you want to spend on a house?
300.
Right. So do you know how much you need to be earning to qualify for 300 alone?
No, haven't done my research.
Okay. So but you see, you're listening to all this stuff.
Yeah.
And straight away putting up barriers. Yeah.
So you haven't done your research, right? So if you did, how far are you off earning what you need to be earning in order to do what you want to do? You know, have you got your 10% deposit? No. Okay, so there's the first obstacle. You need to have your deposit. You need to be earning a certain amount. And if you're earning a certain amount, that should allow you to save your deposit. But you see, the thing is, you boys still live at home with the parents, yes?
Yeah.
If we do an analysis, right? We take your old lad for an example, typical self-employed hard-working man, and he brings in, we'll throw a number. Let's just throw a high number, $2,000 a week, right? $2,000 a week, and he pays a mortgage which is probably say 1,500 quid a month. That's 375 a week plus insurance and whatever else there. Let's say between insurance, he's got 500 quid a week on.
Yeah.
Okay. He's to feed you two savages, plus his missus, plus his anybody else there, right?
Two more brothers.
Yeah, two more brothers, right? Jesus. Tradesmen as well, Eddie?
No, they're not.
Right, he's to pay the gas, the electric, whatever else, right? So when we look at what he has left over, right, he probably has 500 quid a week left over for himself after everything's been paid. Right? You throw your ma 50 quid, you tell her to, there you go, ma, feed the world, I'm not giving you anything more, right? So in order for you to bring in the same amount of money as your dad, you need to bring in 550 a week. So you have as much opportunity earning 550 quid a week as he, as a family man, has earning $2,000 a week.
Right, yeah.
You know, and $2,000, not many people get $2,000 a week outside of my circle. You know, my tradesmen
Yes,
get it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
typical tradesmen, and I don't know about your dad's situation there, but so when you think of it, like, you've got so much opportunity there. So if you could then say, how can I get a job that pays $2,000 a week and just spend enough time at it to get that 550? Okay, so it's probably 2 days. So now you've got 3 days free to do whatever you want, which can be used to earn more money to get you closer to your property goals or do whatever you want. I just think that, you know, the narrative is that there's no opportunity there. There's so much opportunity. You know, so much opportunity there. If you're staying at home and you've no intention of buying a house, it's a perfect time to buy a house because you can just buy something, rent it out. You know,
Yeah, you're going to stay at home
help
anyway.
The housing problem, stay where you are. Have them paying down your mortgage if you eventually want to move into it. If you want to sell it, maybe you have a deposit saved between the two of you. If you want to sell that house in 3, 4, 5 years when you are moving out, maybe you get a deposit each back out of it. So you can
Right,
one
yeah,
deposit
yeah.
into two. Like, there's so much opportunity that you can capitalise on. You
Right
know?
now, yeah.
You've got the rent a room scheme where you could literally buy the house and you can take 1,166 quid a week, 1,166 a month in tax free. You know, on the rent a room scheme. Sure, like, you know, once you're paying less than 1,166 on your mortgage,
That's
it's
covered,
paid
yeah.
for.
Yeah, done. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
there's so much opportunity. It's just people are just tuned into the wrong frequency.
Big
I
time,
believe,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I see so much opportunity everywhere. Now, this is me as an amateur looking in. Actually, there's an opportunity there, there's an opportunity there. When I see the opportunity in my own space, I like to think I can go after it
Capitalise on that.
as much as I can, you know. You know, so the opportunity for me is so many tenants out there. The opportunity for me is so many landlords are leaving the market. I just need to be careful of the rules that's coming down the line. The opportunity for me is that I've acquired these, like, what's that film Taken? I've acquired these specific set of skills to show, to be able to deliver, you know, financially in my business for this, that I can show them to other people who don't have them. It's really what you're tuned into, you know. You know, it's always the guy that's a little bit aggressive always seems to bump into someone that's a bit cheeky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fucking looking at me like that over there. You know?
Yeah,
It's
true, actually.
you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
What's he
geez,
looking
that was
at?
mad.
Yeah.
Last week you said the same about someone else.
Yeah.
You in there again. The way a man looking at you, you know. Hey, it's you know.
Yeah.
But there is so much opportunity, and if you can just shift how you see the world, the opportunity will just flow to you, like, you know. Like, for me, I'm always thinking, where am I missing the opportunity? You know, it has to be something going on. Like, what's the billionaires doing?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
what is the guy that has the 100 million or the 500 million? You know, what's he know that I don't know? Like, how am I fucking this up? Like, how can I get better at that? What's he clued into that I'm not? You know, and you know, I actually know a guy that was in there. He worked in one of the lending houses. So there's like banks that we all know, and then there's like other banks that are just for investors, and then there's lending houses that they're not banks at all.
Right.
You know, they'd lend money for a very specific purpose. And I know a guy that works. I think he still works there, but he's there years. And they were lending money out to all these developers. Shit hit the fan. A few of them went bankrupt, went bust. Some of them owed out money, some of them whatever. If they went bankrupt, they obviously owed out money. Started again. Before you know it, you know, the financial terms that was there got brought down. The minute they got going again, they bounced right back up. You know, so these guys are tuned into that. That level of that frequency of growth and
Yeah,
finance, you know?
yeah.
So it depends on what you want to tune into.
That's sick. Obviously, hypothetical situation, but like, I didn't even realize all that stuff. That way of looking at it, firstly, in terms of the opportunity, like, young people, right, you'd hear, you won't have a job that can earn enough to get a deposit. But when you reverse engineer that, say, well, the person who's earning a decent whack, but by the time all his expenses are paid, you're probably on a level playing field with them. And even if your intention isn't to live in the gaff, all right, well, you can rent it out, you can do so much other things. So it speaks to something you've kind of brought up so many times in different ways, which is like environment and like what you're taking in, who you're surrounded by, what you're listening to, what you're subjected to, and how that then paints the perspective that you view the world or any situation through.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really what you want to do. Like, one of the things that I've said a few times now, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't have the balls to do this now, but I'd love to just go to another country and just start again. Just go and see, could you do it? Like, you know, imagine how cool that'd be.
Yeah, that would be some social experiment.
Look, if you had your 100 million and that was your target, I mean, basically if you achieved your goal and you just went to fucking Spain or England or anywhere and just said, right, let's just start again. Imagine like this. Imagine the story you'd have. Imagine making £1 million from scratch in a new country, starting again. Like that'd be a good buzz, you know. But I would say that people could do it, like, because they just get clued into it, you know. Like obviously, like for me, a big part of my business is social media. But like, if I didn't have social media, what would I just fucking go into labour? Do something else, like. Do you know what I mean? You just keep pushing forward on it, you know. I just think life would be better for people if they just adjusted their mindset. And I remember talking to a guy one day, and we were at this event that I was running, and he was a builder, but he never bought any property, and he was telling me this story of how he went to buy a house and he just didn't at the last minute, and he was blessed because the house prices crashed straight after that, and he still had never bought a house after that, and that was like 10, 15 years later. And what happened was, like, we were just analysing it. Really nice guy. His name is Joe as well, actually. And we were just using this as an example in the room. So like, I failed at this point. I'd failed because I nearly fucking hit the wall. Like, I'd failed due to taking action. He'd failed by default.
Yes.
And now 10, 12 years later, I was using all that experience that I'd gained from what happened to me then to make sure it doesn't happen again. And he still hadn't taken the first step, you know. So like, a lot of people will fail by default, which is a
worst way to do it.
Yeah, because you're not gaining the experience, you know. Now look, then I'll probably have a little bit more hair if we yourself through all that, like, you know. But I think it's a small sacrifice to make, like. Yeah,
you wouldn't have the story to tell either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'd be a bit boring, wouldn't it? Yeah. Imagine if everything went your way, like.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Shit, wouldn't it? You wouldn't feel like. Like if everything went your way, you'd be weak, because you wouldn't be used to things not. You haven't been tested, way, you know? Now, and even there, like when I'm doing deals with people, either big deals or small deals, and they say to me, "Yeah, look, we'll start on this." So let's say I'm buying a house, and we pay the deposit or whatever, or say I'm selling a house. House is sale agreed, yeah, brilliant. Don't think it's going to happen. Sorry, I don't know if it's going to happen. No, it's sale agreed. Don't know if it's going to happen. It will happen when you ring me to say that money's in, the deal is done. I'm like, okay, but until that point, I don't think it's going to happen. And you know, if I'm working with somebody and they tell me they're going to do something, I actually don't believe they're going to do it until they show me that it's done. So like, I have like zero expectations of anybody until they prove themselves. And then I'm like, not sure if this guy's going to do that, but the last 3 times he told me he's going to do stuff, he done them. So that's it, you know. I'm afraid to get ahead of it, you know. Because the amount of people that will actually do what they say they're going to do is very, very small as a percentage of the population. So if you just do what you say you're going to do, I think you have the cards stacked in your favour, you know. Good point.
Absolutely. And what you said there about being tested, brought up an example that has no relevance to what we're talking about, but does in a different way. But it was a chap called Teddy Atlas, who was a boxing trainer, and he worked with Mike Tyson in the very early days, and he used to speak about the same, like you said, if everything goes your way, you'll be quite weak. And Tyson, I don't know what his professional record was, but say it was like 20-5 for example, right? And he was on Joe Rogan actually talking about it, and Rogan was saying, you know, Tyson was 20-5, and Teddy Atlas goes, no, he was 0-5, because he was only actually ever in 5 fights in his life. All the other times, everyone else was beat before they even got into the ring, because it was Tyson and like the big scary person who's going to knock you out. He goes, 5 times in his career he was up against someone who was actually going to fight him, like give it back to him, and he lost all 5 of those.
So he had got these guys beaten before he even got into the ring,
exactly. Exactly. And that idea you were saying of like, if everything went your way in life and you were never tested, you'd be very weak, because the first time then you're faced with a challenge or a struggle or something that you had to fight back against, you're going to be found out.
Yeah, absolutely. It is like it's character building.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. Like the amount of drama that we had in our building company. Like we done like, I think it was like, we had this little thing called a job counter, and I think it was like 2,700 jobs when we left it. You know, so like that was 2,700 individual families that we went in and refurbed one or more rooms of their houses. You know, and the amount of like stuff that went wrong, and like, people trying to claim and trying to sue you and threatening to sue you and stuff going wrong. I'm like, fucking hell, man. But then when you leave that, I'm like, now I'm in this line of work, I'm like, this is easy.
It's a breeze, yeah.
Yeah, but it's only a breeze as a result of
all the reps,
what you learned, you know. And again, you know, you'd be getting these kind of philosophical thoughts in your head. You'd be chatting with people. It's like, right, so let's say we walk over our door tomorrow and there's a big fuck off rock in front of the door, and we try to move it and it won't budge, and we try to move it every day, but after the year we budge it a little bit. Oh fuck, and we just keep pushing it. So did we move it just on that one day, or is it a combination of all of them, you know? And I think it's a combination of all the things not going your way that basically allows you to get where you want to be, you know? And that's really it. And then the minute you do something, like one of the things there that I remember saying to myself before is I wanted to run 100k non-stop, you know? And I said this to me, I was like, if I ever do a 100k run, I was like, if I could do it, like that's like, what, 2.5 marathons, and so if I could do that, that means I can officially do anything that I put my mind to, you know.
Yeah.
And so then we done this 100k race, the first time I ever done it, and like I was in a bundle after, like, but the next day I was like, it wasn't that hard, you know, or 2 days, probably 2 days out, it wasn't that hard. Yeah. What about 100 miles now? That's a different thing. Wow, if I could run 100 miles, that means I could do anything. But this, the threshold just keeps getting
bigger and bigger.
put out all the time, you know. And you just keep. Yeah, I think if you're pushing for more, you don't really give yourself that much appreciation for
what you're going for.
Yeah, for what you have to do. But maybe that's also the thing that's going to push you forward.
Yeah.
Like we do have guys coming in the doors to us, and they're making a few quid in their business, and like they are like so proud of themselves, you know. And that's it. They're snookered. Like they've plateaued. They've no desire for growth. They're now done it, made it, you know. And the exact amount of money that they've made is not really relevant. It's just like, that's what I set out to do, I've done it. And then they just sit back and
get complacent,
relax then, like, you know. And it's like, you know the whole saying, if you're green you're growing, if you're ripe you're raw.
Yeah.
You don't want to be too ripe.
You're
in a danger zone there. You know, I want to stay a little bit green. I think anyways, you know.
Absolutely.
Point. Do you have any? I have 2 more questions. I don't know about you.
You can crack on. I'll have one more. And then,
Nice. But just on that last point there, because it was funny the way you described that, because obviously we mentioned Parkinson's law earlier, where it's like the amount of time it will take will expand into the size of the amount of time you assign to it. It's like your abilities and who you are as an individual will expand to meet the size of the challenge that you set for yourself. So if you're always setting yourself little small goals, you'll never get to the position or like face the challenges that are going to give you the character and the self-belief required to get to the big goals.
Yeah.
So you give us a nice take on that. You might have, we'll call that Joe's law. Really?
Doyle's law.
Doyle's law.
You can have that. We'll share it. Now. The lad's law.
Yeah.
Like it's if you just focus on the small stuff, like and like, okay, so where is that a negative in your life, say, right? So like I was actually Linda shared this video with me from about 2 or 3 years ago, and I was sitting down the end of the kitchen on the laptop, and I don't know what I was working on, but I was working on something very. It was important to me at that time, right?
Okay.
I know it was because of the way I reacted, right? And she's up the other end of the kitchen, and she's asking me, would I like my carrots sliced, or would I like my carrots cut in long fingers for the dinner? And she asked me, and I heard her voice, but I didn't register what she was saying. And then she asked me again, and I was like, what? So the third time she asked me, and I just started breaking straight laughing. I was like, I'm sitting here trying to build an empire, and you're asking me what fucking shape I want my carrots. I was like, I don't give a bollocks about what shape the carrots are, you know. And she seen the funny side of it, and we laughed it off, right? But the thing is, while I'm so focused on all these big things, it's important, like, you know, if the missus comes in and says, you know, what shoes do you think is nicer? It's important to just stop, say, I think that one is nicer, or that one, or whatever. You don't say the usual, like, oh, whatever. You know? And then, like, even like with me ma, like, you know, I used to go to my ma's house every Monday for dinner. Now I just find myself too busy. Like I just didn't see my ma as much, and she only lives across the road with me. And I need to make a bit of a conscious effort. So I was going to my ma's for dinner every Monday because I'm busy every day. But I made that hour and a half. That was great. And then I kind of dropped off again. I'm like, no, I need to go and make the effort on that. Like, it's all well and good focusing on these big things, but you have to just be conscious of the small decisions that you're making around. You know, I remember again, a lot of this contrasting comes from Linda. She said to me, she came into the office one day, and this is in the old office, and I'm either on the phone or something like that, and she opens the door and I done that, you know, just I'm on the phone, right? And that's the hand signal that we used to each other every day for years. So if someone comes in, like, you know, I don't have to say I'm on the phone, right? And then I'll go into you. So she came on like that. She stood at the door. She's like, you know, what do you think you're doing, you know? And then she left, and she says, the way you speak to each other in that office is disgraceful, you know, because we're just a productive office, and she's giving out to me about the way we all speak to each other. But don't be speaking to me like that. And she's right, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're tuned in to whatever we're doing at that exact minute of time. So, you know, I don't need to say go away. It was just a little hand signal, like, you know. And then you go down and see whoever it was that was looking for you, or they come back up or whatever. But she was like, oh no, the way you speak to each other is disgraceful. But like, we're in this, like, you know, it's not a high pressure environment, but all of my offices have been highly optimized, where we're all working as hard and as efficiently as possible to get the best result. But I think you need to make sure you don't forget about the small details with the family, with the friends, with the missus, even with the clients, you know. You know, how's the family? Question. Just, I think it's important, you know, because you'll end up optimizing the life out of your business, like. You'll end up optimizing the soul, say, out of your business. You know. And even there, now it's a long version of the same of a question. The long version of the answer to your question. I start going to a new gym down in Maynooth, and I'm like, oh, it's fucking too far to be driving to the gym, like, because I've got gyms on my doorstep, you know. But I want to go down there for a specific reason, and I'm like, this is actually grand. I just have an extra hour between dropping the baby to school and going to the gym, and I'm able to tidy up a few little bits and pieces where I used to drop her to school 4 minutes there or 5 minutes there in the gym. There's no downtime in between that. So something that I'm kind of aware of on that, you know.
Oh, nice. It was a good answer. Long answer, but good answer. I like it. The other question I had
you can chop it down. And chop stuff in.
The other question I wanted to ask you, because we had Craig Coakley on a couple of weeks ago. He's a professional Muay Thai fighter.
Oh, brilliant, yeah.
And just talk basically, if you had to like break down your pillar or your what got you to this point to like 3 distinct pillars, and he was obviously like dedication to the sport, commitment, so on and so forth. What would your 3 pillars of success be?
3 pillars of success. So I believe that when people are out to create wealth, they do it for one of 2 reasons. Either they do it to get closer to abundance, or they do it to get away from poverty. And I find that when people do things to get closer to abundance, they will create much more wealth than people who do it to escape poverty. So for me, I'm doing it to escape poverty. Like, every day I'm like, oh fuck, you know, I'm like, it's not that I'm getting closer to the 100 million, I'm getting further away from poverty, you know. And it's not even like I've learned to understand it now, because as the numbers kind of grew, I realised that, like, it's not a numbers thing, it's a mental thing, you know. So I know what it's like growing up and not having the essentials, you know. Like, there's a mad thing, like, growing up, like, whereas my old lad was on his A game sometimes and he wasn't, so there was abundance and lack. So I got to see both of them, and I didn't like lack, and I knew abundance existed, you know. So for me, it's just like I'm trying to escape poverty at all times, you know. And sometimes I make decisions that if I wasn't like that, I would be more comfortable making other decisions, you know. And I'd say now, maybe by the time I exit this stage of my journey, I need to get a handle on that, or else it's going to affect me, you know. So I don't know if I have 3 pillars of success other than that one that goes on in my head every day. But I do believe that if you take the attitude that you want to outwork everybody you interact with, you can't lose, you know. So like, if I come in here and I'm sweeping the floor, he'll know I'm fucking best person that he could have ever got to sweep the floor, you know. And it's not that difficult to shine when everybody's disengaged from their job. So just, you know, outwork everyone, and I think the rest will fall into place.
Nice, I like it.
I like him. My question is very similar to that one, but based on, I think, did you say it's like 3,000 students, 3,000 members you guys have worked with now?
The exact number.
Go on, actually, go on.
I'm always happy to
go on, share it with us.
Share this one. Have a look there now. 3,069.
Oh, no, nice.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So based on your experience with 3,069 people who have had success in whatever version of that exists. What do you feel is like the most important character trait or personality trait you see in the most successful students?
Wow, that's a smashing question. Just ask me that one more time so I can digest that.
What do you feel is the most important either character trait or personality trait in the most successful ones?
The willingness to be wrong.
Okay.
You know, so if I talk to somebody and he says, okay, what's next? Okay, I see what you mean by this is not the best way for me to be doing things. What's next? We can just move on to the next piece. If he says, yeah, but, okay, right, I have to sit there and explain to him for fucking half an hour why this is it. And then in the end, he'll either come around to my way of thinking or he won't and he'd hate me.
Yes. Yeah.
So nowadays, like, I'm doing a fairly kind of stringent interview process with clients that I'm not fucking taking them on just because they want to spend money with me. I'm only taking them on if they have the right mentality, they're willing to listen, and of course they have the money. You know, that's the last one.
Yes,
of the equation. But I think the willingness for people to be wrong is a sign that they're willing to do more. Like,
love it.
Short answer.
What an answer. What an answer.
Solid.
Joe, is there anything you want to plug? Where can people find out more about yourself?
Nah, look, I'm. No, we don't have to plug in. If anybody wants to share the video, I'd be forever grateful. So I'm on all social media, Joe Doyle Entrepreneur. If they send me a message with Molloy twins, I'll give them a free business program. I put a little something together. So if they send me that, I know they came from here, I'll send them a little thing, and that's a gift from you to them, by me.
Appreciate it. You're welcome.
Yeah, always happy to do. So, you know, when you go to someone's, you have to bring a bottle of wine or something like that. I brought a business program for your listeners here, you know. But I suppose so. If anybody's selling any houses, I'm going beyond that now. If anybody needs help with their business, just give me a shout, man. We'll help them out.
Are any fox hunters around?
We've got so many offers to kill that fox, man. He doesn't realise he's a marked man.
His days are numbered. Joe, personally, I got so much from this in terms of value, inspiration, and just looking at problems or things that I consider problems in my life a little bit differently. So forever grateful to you for that and for taking the time to come on to the podcast today. Yeah, happy to support you, lads, and be sure to send me a few clips and I'll share them and hopefully get you a few of my audience will cross over to you, you know. Fingers crossed. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.